Friday at noon. Please show up. You can pocket tip as well. So, first quarter, I was here, had the cell physiology class with straw. Everyone was like, oh, that's going to be tough. You're going to have a hard time getting through that one. About 3 weeks into it, this guy walks in. Yo, dude, don't worry, I got this. I'll teach you everything he teaches you for the whole quarter. 2 hours, done. You'll do fine. He's here to teach us some neurology tonight. Plus, he has an amazing name, Josh Silver.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. My name is Josh. I'm a third-year chiropractic student. For the last year and a half, I've been studying functional neurology at the Carrick Institute for Graduate Studies. Now, in this program, we've broken down the nervous system anatomically, physiologically, behaviorally. We're trying to learn every detail of the nervous system. Trying to learn how it functions and then how it breaks down, so we know how to fix it. But the truth is, this has been an extremely mechanistic experience for me. Trying to learn all the pieces that make the machine. And the truth is, I come from a vitalistic origin. You see, my first quarter here in chiropractic school, I fell in love with chiropractic philosophy. Like Reggie Gold, Sid Williams, the greats. I studied to be one of them. And so I was torn. Mechanism, vitalism. It created this chiropractic schizophrenia. And this plagued me. It kept me up at night. And it was only in the recent couple months that I began to understand that the two weren't separate, but uniquely intertwined. And I call this Mecha-Vitalism. That totally sounds cool. So Mecha-Vitalism is a way of thinking that utilizes our understanding of mechanism to reinforce, defend, and appreciate the vitalistic philosophy that we all already believe in. Let me explain. For decades, chiropractors have affectionately referred to innate intelligence as this intelligence in the body of all living things is infinitely intelligent. It brought us from 2 cells to 10 trillion cells. It watches over us, protects us, it heals us, allows us to thrive and grow with our environment. I think I found the mechanistic equivalent. It's called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is basically your brain's ability to make new connections, to structurally rewire itself on a day-to-day basis, never being the same as before. Now, this process allows us to get new memories, new emotions or thoughts, but also new abilities. You see, as our lives progress and different things happen to us, we need to constantly adapt. Our brains need to constantly change to the stresses on us. And neuroplasticity allows us to do that. To me, innate and neuroplasticity are the same thing. So the question is, how do we get neuroplasticity? It all starts with an NMDA receptor. When you open this guy, calcium comes into the neuron, and then he hits the DNA, activating it and get genetic expression. You start making proteins and use these proteins to make new axons and dendrites and new connections. So the question really is, how do we open an NMDA receptor? And it's a stubborn receptor. It needs a bunch of input to open. And this is where you guys come in. The chiropractic adjustment just happens to be enough stimulation to hit this guy and open him up. And calcium comes in, and you start plasticizing everywhere. And see, in this way, the chiropractic adjustment is the equivalent of miracle growth for the brain. You see, some chiropractors say they release innate. No, I induce neuroplasticity, but it means the same thing. It's Mecha-Vitalism. So I want to talk about how the chiropractic adjustment affects the brain. We're not taught enough of it here in school. So what happens is, you put your hands on a patient, you deliver this high-velocity, low-amplitude thrust. You activate thousands of receptors in the area. GTOs, muscle spindles, mechanoreceptors, whatever. They all flood through the spinal nerves and shoot up the spinal cord instantaneously. The first stop is the brainstem. It lights up the brainstem, waking up these nuclei that were stuck in long-term depression. And as they come back online, their functions come back. Now, a lot of these in the brainstem control autonomics. And so, as you adjust people and take care of these autonomic discrepancies, this old man's blood pressure comes down, or these kids' asthma goes away. You see, it's not philosophy, it's science. We can defend it with this. Other aspects of the brainstem include the cranial nerves, right? And as you light up cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve, people's smiles become more vibrant. Their frowns become more expressive. Their nonverbal communication to the world around them improves. Fire's over, the peduncles, lighting up the cerebellum like a Christmas tree. And it instantly potentiates like millions of neurons. And so the cerebellum becomes more effective in what it needs to do, mainly coordination, balance, and motor learning. So how does this translate? It means that this old lady that you adjust, she avoids a fall that could have crippled her. This athlete that you adjust, this pro baseball player, he's able to throw another 10 strikeouts that season. Or like this little kid that you adjust, he takes his first step. That's profound. Comes out of the cerebellum and hits the thalamus. Now, the thalamus is a gatekeeper, and as it receives this input, its integration as a whole improves. Now, Dr. Carrick demonstrated this. He adjusted people and their blind spots got smaller, and thus their perceptual ability of the world around them improved. But what if this is the key to Harvey Lillard? You see, Harvey Lillard's ears worked fine, his auditory nerve worked fine, his brainstem's probably intact. But when it hit his thalamus, it wasn't at a level of threshold high enough to pass it on to his temporal lobes for perception. By giving him that adjustment, it charged this area, turning it online again. And he was able to hear. Now, it showers out of the corona radiatum and bathes the parietal lobes in input. And as it does this, it creates neuroplastic changes all over it. For the first time, the patient's like, oh, that felt good. Or, the parietal lobes are where we have our sensation of touch. Now, Dr. Jack Borla, who's here with us tonight, likes to say that medical doctors help their patients feel better, emphasis on the better, because they use pharmaceutical drugs to inhibit pain for their patients. But chiropractors help their patients feel better, and he's absolutely right. By causing plasticity throughout the parietal lobes, patients become more in touch with their bodies. They actually feel better. They want to hug more. They want to do more stuff. But the truth is, as pain and pleasure compete for perception in the brain, pleasure wins. We just feel better. We feel less pain as a side effect. So my amendum is chiropractors help their patients feel better. Other aspects of parietal lobes include spatial awareness, math skills, visual streams. And as these improve, we can see learning disabilities go away. We do. Now, the final and perhaps the most profound loop of all the circuitry is the final feed-forward mechanism to the frontal lobes. Frontal lobes are the human brain. They give us everything we have as humans. It allows us to plan and coordinate, to organize and strategize. It allows us to think critically, but also imagine wildly. It's a reality simulator. You can think about actions you might want to do, and then start thinking if they're a good idea or a bad idea, and what the outcomes would be, before you even do them. So, as you increase the frequency of firing in the frontal lobes, you actually make people more human. You see, they can think clearer, and their impulsive actions go away. They become happier people, their depression goes away, but they're able to work harder, and they can make more money. They can support their family better. You see, with the frontal lobes, it's endless, it's limitless what we can do. And in this way, mechanistically, we really do help people live to their maximum potential. Mecha-Vitalism. There's one thing I want to leave you guys with tonight, and it's spatial summation. Spatial summation is this concept that things that fire together wire together. You activate two pathways and they hit one neuron at the same time. They get this net depolarization and an overall larger effect is made. Functional connection is made. So how does this play out to us? It means that a patient comes to my office. The first thing we do is hug them. We love on them. You want to make them feel good, just being there. You start giving them acceptance, joy, just being in your presence. So you bring them into your room and you lay them down, right? And now you find your contact point. And right before you're about to adjust, you tell them, I love you, and I can help you. You see, you just combine the somatic efferents, or the limbic arousal of love and acceptance, with the somatic efferents and chiropractic adjustment to literally plastize love into this human's nervous system. So that's Mecha-Vitalism. Thank you.
You couldn't explain the neurology of chiropractic in 8 minutes. Went above and beyond on that one. Truly, you did. Thank you, Josh. I learned a lot. Again.